Okay, we are going to do some unit conversions today, and we're going to use this concept or this technique of dimensional analysis, where we use multiplying fractions, and we let the units guide us through it to do unit conversions. Okay, so this is called dimensional analysis and unit conversions. Let's start with this problem I've got here. I've got 5.4 miles. Let's say I rode 5.4 miles, and I wanted to know how many centimeters that is, which is crazy. It's going to be a pretty big number. So let's see. I'm going to always start by putting my original value and unit in a fraction over 1, okay? So let's say that I need to go from miles to something that's going to bring me to centimeters. Well, miles and miles in the numerator and miles in the denominator will cancel, just like anything in multiplying fractions in the numerator cancels with something in the denominator. We can divide by the same thing, including units. So I'll put miles down here. I'm going to go from miles to, let's say, kilometers. That makes sense to me. And then I'm going to go from kilometers to meters. So I'm going to say kilometers. It's in the numerator, so I need it to cancel in the denominator. I'm going to convert it to meters. And then I can pretty easily do meters. So they cancel here in the numerator and denominator to centimeters. And I'm left with what the unit that I'm looking for in the problem. So now I've allowed my units to guide me to set up my fractions. And now I'm going to, for each fraction, say a ratio. I'm going to make a there are statement. And I'm going to put in the numbers. So there are 1.609 kilometers in every 1 mile. So I'm going to write that as I say it. There are 1.609 kilometers in every 1 mile. There are 1,000 meters in every 1 kilometer. There are 100 centimeters in every 1 meter. Does that make sense? So now I'm going to grab my trusty calculator. Let me find my calculator here. So I've got my pretty blue calculator. And I'm just going to, since there are only ones in the denominator here, I'm going to go ahead and just multiply all those numbers across the top. So 5.4 times 1.609 times 1,000 times 100. Hopefully I did that right. And this equals 868,860. Let's put some commas in there. Centimeters. There's my answer. If I wanted to put that answer into scientific notation, I would put a decimal place after that first 8. So it would be 886 times 10 to the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 to the 5th. And there would be my answer in scientific notation. All right? But let's say that we have a problem. So I'm going to erase this one. You can go back and rewind and take a look at it if you want to. But let's say that we've got this 45.4. It's someone's running, right? So it's kind of slow. So 5.4 miles per hour. And I would like to know how many meters per second that is, right? So now we've got 2 units there. We've got a sort of a unit in the numerator and a unit in denominator. So we're going to always start by taking our original value, putting it in a fraction over 1, and let's put the units in place. I'm going to put miles in the numerator and hours in the denominator. Notice that I am using horizontal fraction lines, okay? So let's see. I'm going to work on my miles first. I want to go from miles to meters. So if I don't want miles in my final answer, then I need it to cancel out. Cancel, cancel. And miles can go to kilometers. But I'm not looking for kilometers. I'm looking for meters. So another fraction. Kilometers will cancel and go to meters, right? Let's see. I still need hours to move to seconds. So if hours started in the denominator, then hours will cancel in the numerator. So I'm going to put hours up here. And let's go to minutes. But I'm not looking for minutes, I'm looking for seconds. So minutes will now cancel in the numerator, and I can go to seconds. if I look at this and I go ahead and just check out whether my units cancel, so miles cancels with miles, kilometers cancels with kilometers, and I'm left with meters. Hours at the beginning is going to cancel with hours over here, minutes with minutes, and I'm left with seconds. So I let the units tell me how to get to meters per second. So that's really the first major step there, is let the units guide you. Okay, number 2, let's fill in each of these. So there are 1.609 kilometers in every 1 mile. 1.609 kilometers in every 1 mile. There are 1,000 meters in every 1 kilometer. I'm going to write it as I say it. There are 1,000 meters in every 1 kilometer. There are 60 minutes in every hour. So I'm actually going to write it in the order that I'm saying it, right? There are 60 minutes in every 1 hour. There are 60 seconds in every 1 minute. So I'm going to write it again in that order. So I put my numbers in the right place, all right? Let's make sure that you can see that over there. So I'm looking at needing to multiply this out. So grab your calculator, and you can do it with me. We're going to put any number in the numerator. We're going to put a time sign in front of it after the first number. And any number in the denominator, we're going to put a divided by sign on our calculator in front of it. So let's start with 5.4. So clear, 5.4 times 1.609, because it's in the numerator, excuse me, times 1,000. Oh, now I'm down at the denominator, divided by 60, divided by 60 equals. Hopefully I did that right. We'll see. You can let me know if I did it wrong by putting a comment in here. I have equals 2.4135. And so it needs a unit, right? That's meters per second. So 5.4 miles per hour equals 2.4135 meters per second. Okay? Good luck.